Hello again. We are Chris Lee and Jay Greeson of Southeastern 16 here to preview and predict an outcome on Vanderbilt's road trip to Tennessee. The Commodores 8-8 on the road. The Vols 27-7 at home, although they've struggled there lately in SEC play. You can catch these games on TV Friday 7:30 Central on the SEC Network. Saturday, 4 Central on ESPN2. Sunday's game at 2 Central, also on ESPN2. Jay Greeson, huge rivalry here between the teams with lots at stake. Cannot wait to see the Vols and Vanderbilt to battle in Knoxville this weekend.
I completely agree with you. The first thing, in reference to the TV, one, I'm glad all these games are on television because I think it's two programs. Maybe there are a lot of series in the SEC where one side or the other may have a bunch to play for, but both of these teams can plant a flag in being a super regional host, what used to be called the top 8 seed, national seed, whatever you want to phrase it. But as Tennessee has been sliding and Vanderbilt's metrics far outweigh a whole lot of what just scanning standings and records portray. The winner of this feels real good about themselves with a week left in the regular season.
Yeah, I think Vanderbilt has unquestionably got the better metrics going into this year. That doesn't mean Vanderbilt's the better team. Tennessee, this is a golden opportunity for the Vols to flip that or make that a lot closer. And Vanderbilt, big opportunity. Like if it can win the series, then the chances Vanderbilt would be a host at that point. And the chances it would not be a top 8 national seed, I think with Kentucky coming to Nashville next weekend would be pretty slim. You know what your chances are of recovering for soreness if you don't use Chair Bundy, Jay?
Slim.
They're also slim. That's right. If you like to run or exercise, what you need is their 100% tart cherry juice. It helps you with recovery. You can drink some in the morning with breakfast if you know you're going to work out. You can use the gummies, get the same thing. You can also use the concentrated pouch. You can pour that into water. That's great if you're on the go, or you could just probably drink it straight if you really want to. When you're trying to go to sleep at night, they have another set of gummies with melatonin. That is great for your sleep. I use their stuff. You can see this bottle is empty. That's for a reason. It's because I drank it this morning. But anyway, if you don't believe me, look at professional athletes. 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champions have used it. Just about every team that goes to the NCAA tournament uses it. Football teams use it. I mean, you can look it up. The numbers are staggering. But you can use it to help yourself. You can help us. And if you do it through us, go to chairbundy.com. Get 20% off your entire order with the promo code SE16. All right, Jay. Both these teams have had interesting weeks. Tennessee was not swept, but lost 2 out of 3 at home to Auburn. Vanderbilt was just close to losing the series to Alabama before a late-game power outburst against Alabama on Sunday. Vandy lost its midweek game at Louisville. In the meantime, Tennessee won its over Indiana State in a rout. Your pitching matchups for this weekend, I would think you will see the following. You'll see Liam Doyle for Tennessee on Friday against J.D. Thompson, the lefty for Vanderbilt. Doyle also a lefty. You will see, I think, on Saturday, you'll see Marcus Phillips for Tennessee. You will see Cody Bowker for Vanderbilt, who's struggled a little bit lately. And Phillips has struggled in different ways. The pitching effectiveness has been fine at times, but the runners on base thing has been an issue for him. And then I think in a very intriguing Game 3, Connor Fennell, who doesn't break, I don't think, 88, but my goodness, he's been tougher than anybody in the league to hit, including Doyle. I think he's got the highest strikeout rate in the league. He will try to work quickly. Alabama tried to slow him down last week with some success in that. And then Tennessee, I would presume, will throw A.J. Russell on Sunday.
Which makes Sunday must-see TV. I mean, not only has Fennell been right there with the Kentucky kid and the emergence of Casey Evans at LSU as your best number 3 in the league for just about any team going, especially with the injuries at Texas. But A.J. Russell is a guy that, as a number 3, he's got Friday night stuff. So if he's getting to a place that they're getting more than one time through the lineup with him after the injuries, after the rehab, after all the things that go into that, A.J. Russell as a 3 is, salty. So, and you mentioned a real interesting thing with Fennell, because not only did Alabama have success slowing him down, they also left the building on him a couple of times, including that big 3-run home run down the line. And if he gets flummoxed and he leaves stuff up, this is not a good crew to be leaving 78 out and over the plate.
Yeah, I think, to me, like, what he does is he wants to get the ball, and he'd like to get rid of it with the pitch clock at about 16. And you've seen some teams that have struggled with it, because the rule is you got to be in the batter's box by 10 seconds or whatever it is.
Right.
And you've got to lock eyes with the pitcher. And so you can get an automatic strike called on you as a batter if you're not prepared. And he's gotten several of those. He literally just likes to get it and throw it and not think about it. And he's had wild success doing that. Last week in Alabama figured out, hey, and you saw Georgia figure out a little bit in Ole Miss. Like, the problem is, okay, you can step out of the box and delay him a little bit, but you've got to step back in time, and you've got to make eye contact in time. And the minute you make eye contact, he goes into the line. So then as a hitter, you're on the clock. Alabama figured out something out with him last week that got him out of his rhythm. His location failed. And you mentioned the home runs. He has got the highest home run rate on the staff. He gives up home runs 5.2% of the time, even though he's really not he's not a pronounced fly ball. Well, I guess he gives up twice as many fly balls as he does grounders, but he also strikes out 40% of the hitters. So there's just not as many balls in play.
Well, because his mistakes, I used to always say that when the Braves at the height of their powers in the 90s with the big 3, during the regular season, Maddox and Glavin would carry you for long stretches because they always threw strikes, they always threw with movement, and they always had you in games. But when October rolled around, you wanted John Smoltz, because if he makes a mistake at 95, a mistake becomes a hard single to center.
Yeah.
If Glavin or Maddox left an 88-mile-an-hour changeup above the knees, that becomes a 2-run bomb. And when every pitch and every at-bat matters late in the year and into the postseason, Fennell's mistakes don't come back. They're not hitting the cutoff, man. They're turning into souvenirs.
Well, this puts it right out there for you. He has struck out 47% of the hitters he's faced. He's given a free pass, which is a walk or hit batsman 7% of the time. So that's a strikeout minus free pass rate of 40%, which is incredible. He gives up fly balls 19% of the plate appearances. I don't do that as a percentage of balls in play. So, like, it would be larger than that if it's just of that. But he gives up a home run 5.2% of the time. So when you get it in the air against him, it goes out. And maybe there's some bad luck built in that. People that study that say that generally the percentage of time somebody gets the ball in the air against you and the percentage of time it goes out, like if it's above a certain threshold, it's bad luck. Maybe that's what we're dealing with here, but a couple of those ones when you could figure out what was coming, we're also at a mile. So anyway, that's a
staggering split to be plus 40% strikeouts to free passes, and to have better than one out of every four fly balls hit traveling over the fence is crazy. Is eye-opening. It's crazy.
Yeah. It's really feast or famine. Look, it's also been that with J.D. Thompson, their Friday night starter, who's been really good at home and just kind of mediocre on the road. Knoxville's not a place you want to pitch where you're mediocre. And Cody Bowker, who was really their best pitcher early in the year. He's got good stuff. He's also a, probably top 3 or 4 round pitcher, but he was a guy that was a reliever at Georgetown. And I think maybe starting at Vanderbilt for the first time, You wonder if the workload is catching up to him. I think for Tennessee, Marcus Phillips in game 2. One thing that I like about Phillips is he's pretty athletic, and teams are going to try to bunt and do stuff on Tennessee a lot. A, because they're hard to hit. B, because their infield has been a defensive disaster, and you kind of want to force him to make some plays. Now, Phillips has been really good, Jay, of going over and grabbing bunts and making some athletic plays. So his ability to do that could neutralize a lot of what Vanderbilt wants to do. Now, stolen bases are a different thing. We saw Kentucky steal 10 times on Phillips a couple of weekends ago. Vanderbilt will like to run a lot too. It has stolen, let's see, how many bases? 86 this year, been caught 16 times. So the catching for Tennessee, led by Cannon Peebles, who's got a good arm, is going to get tested. Stolen bases by player. R.J. Austin stole 20. Rustin Rigdon has stolen 14. Jacob Humphrey, that's one to watch. He's stolen 16 bases and is one of Vanderbilt's better hitters and can bunt and run and do stuff like that. He's been out a couple of weeks in concussion protocol. So his availability could change things for Vanderbilt and make things more difficult against a guy like Phillips. And then you've also got Mike Mancini has stolen 13 bases. But I think the running game in game 2, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to kind of concede game 1 to Tennessee because Doyle has been flat out unhittable and Thompson hasn't been great on the road. If you're Vanderbilt and you get that one, you're feeling great. Game 2 and 3 are more interesting because of the stylistic matchups, particularly with Russell. And can he be effective and go deep in games, which he hasn't so far, but he's got elite talent. Finnel, for all the reasons we discussed. Bowker, for reasons that he can be great at times, but it is really he's seen some rough times lately. And then back to Phillips, who does some things really well and some other things not very well, but is an elite talent.
As we've done in all of our previews, we did the Big Six or the other 6 series here on Southeastern 16. You can find those. We also broke out LSU and Arkansas. But in this Tennessee Vandy breakdown, we've kind of kicked around some of the names that Keith Laws put in the first round of his mock draft. And 2 Tennessee players are among them. And Liam Doyle is pegged number 2 overall. And Gavin
Kilen
is, I was just trying to find it, 19 overall to Baltimore. And I think kind of the nut graph there is while Tennessee has tons of young talent, I think they've got more elite older guys. And I also think there's a sense of desperation with this Tennessee team because of their recent struggles at Lindsey Nelson and kind of their sliding stature in the conversation, in the seeding conversations.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned the pro guys. Andrew Fischer, I don't know where they've got him. I think Baseball America has him around 30, and Dean Curley.
Curley is listed among Keith Laws, but Andrew Fischer is not.
Okay. Well, I wonder how defense has affected both of them because neither have been great there, but boy, they can both hit.
Yeah.
And for Vanderbilt, here's the thing. I think if Vanderbilt walks out with a series sweep, there's not a lot of on a series win. I think a sweep feels unrealistic, and frankly, getting a series win is an uphill climb. But Holcomb and Johnston have been hitting a lot of home runs for them lately. And Tennessee can hit him anywhere. Vanderbilt's going to have to get from certain spots in the lineup. But those guys have both been hitting a lot out of the yard lately. And if it comes to a high leverage situation with bases loaded, a couple of guys on in pitchers duels, Vanderbilt does have the ability to even games up a little bit, but only at the right spots in the lineup. So I think that's something I'd watch is hitting in clutch situations with those guys at the dish.
I think that's completely fair, but I'll be curious to see how Tim talks to his team, considering the way Tennessee, the last 3 years, Tennessee has put a complete stranglehold on this series.
Yeah.
They swept them in 22. They swept them in 23. They took 2 of 3 last year in Nashville. And I think this is pretty doggone important to Tim Corbin, but it's now become really important to the Vols too. So to that end, especially with Liam Doyle as your anchor, because it wouldn't shock me if he went number 1 overall when the names are called in June in the MLB draft, because he's got that type of electric stuff. I'm going to take Tennessee to take 2 of 3 here. The upper tier talent and the motivation of needing this maybe a little bit more than Vanderbilt does in terms of resume over emotion.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee has owned that series in the regular season lately, and I think in Knoxville it's been very lopsided. I think that, both these teams hate each other. Vanderbilt's going to probably walk into a hornet's nest with a desperate Tennessee team. And I think in a game where both teams have got elite pitching talent, the ability to change the game with one swing certainly favors Tennessee, which has hit over twice the number of home runs that Vanderbilt's hit. I'm going to go with the Vols. I think Vanderbilt gets a game. I'm not sure which one. Game 3 has been usually the one that Vanderbilt gets. In fact, road series, let's see, the last all the times that Vanderbilt's been on the road this year, okay, the Commodores lost 2 of 3 at Auburn, took the middle game, took all 3 at Florida, lost 2 of 3 at Ole Miss and 2 of 3 at Oklahoma, and took game 3 in lopsided fashion both times. So feels like, although I think that game 2 could be interesting because Phillips has had his struggles and Bowker's had them, but for different reasons. But I think we'll both go with the Vols based on recent series history and also the element of need this one a little bit more than the other one does to get where you want to be in terms of your venue in postseason. However it shakes out, we will be here to talk about these games afterwards. We have a live stream Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. We usually start them sometime between 9 and 10 Central. It just depends on our schedules and how these games are going, but we try to time them as a lot of the games are over and most of the other ones are ending. So you can come in and join us. You can ask your questions. You can leave your super chats. Also ask, if you would please consider subscribing to our stuff on your audio-only platforms. We do most of our stuff on YouTube, but we also make these available as audio broadcasts. So wherever you get your podcasts in audio form, whether that's Apple, whatever, go to those destinations. And if you don't mind, leave us a nice rating there. For Jay Greeson, I'm Chris Lee. Thank you for watching our baseball content here at Southeastern 16. We appreciate you. God bless you. We'll see you again soon.